Hey Ravens fans, it's time to answer your questions in this week's mailbag, like could the Ravens get a new deal with Marshall Yanda? Is there a potential shakeup at backup quarterback? And are we going to see throwback jerseys in 2015? All of that and more in today's mailbag.
Our first question comes from Juan Wilkes. He asks, who has the best shot at taking over the return specialist role now that Jacoby Jones is gone? If healthy, I still think Michael Campanera is the leader for this job. I mean, he stepped in for Jacoby Jones at some points last season, so that really tells you what they think of Camp. But that's a big if for right now with his health. I would say if he's not healthy, it's probably Asa Jackson. Asa showed a lot in his first couple years in preseason games as a punt returner, and I think he fits the mold that Jerry Rossberg is looking for. Coach Rossberg specifically said, whoever's going to be our returner this year is going to have to win a position on offense or defense, respectively. Asa Jackson, we know, is going to be on this team as a reserve cornerback, but he doesn't have as many defensive duties now, possibly with the signing of Kyle Arrington. So that frees him up more to be a specialist, a returner. Now, I know everybody's talking about DeAndre Carter. We've gotten a million questions on Facebook about him. But I think, under what Coach Rossberg said, it's going to be tough for him to win a job on offense because it's just so crowded at the wide receiver position.
So you don't see Steve Smith back there. We've seen him out during practice fielding punts.
I would absolutely love to see Steve Smith body slamming people as a punt returner, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
All right, something else people would love to see is maybe a jersey shakeup. We love jersey questions around here. John wants to know, is there any possibility of the Ravens wearing throwback jerseys in 2015 to commemorate the 20th season? Well, no, we're not going to see throwback jerseys this season. I think John wants to see the guys get out there with the big shoulder pads, the neck roll, really go all out. But no, we're not going to see throwback jerseys. What you are going to see, however, is that the team is going to wear a 20th season patch right here on the front of their jersey. It's going to be part of an overall festivity this year to commemorate the 20th season. So no throwback jersey, but yes on the throwback patch.
All right, our next question comes from Gustavo, and he asks, what impact will the addition of Brent Urban and Captain Lewis Moore have on the defensive line? I can tell you one thing, I bet Chris Canty's a really happy camper that these guys are back because they're going to keep his 32-year-old legs a lot fresher this year. I think the Ravens will roll both of those guys in behind Canty. I still think that he's the starter, but it just keeps everybody more fresh, which helps you late in games, it helps you late in the season, all of those things. I think really the intention is the Ravens want to get Brent Urban and Captain Lewis more time on the field this year so that they can potentially take over for Canty next year down the line.
All right, the next question comes from Adam. He wants to know, is the backup quarterback competition more wide open than just Matt Schaub? Is a guy like Bryn Renner in the mix? Well, I think that it's definitely Matt Schaub's job to lose. And I know that he struggled a little bit during organized team activities, at least in the practices that were open to the media, throwing a couple of interceptions. But I still think that the Ravens like this guy as the backup. He's a veteran insurance policy who knows this offense like the back of his hand. He was a two-time Pro Bowler in this system when he was in Houston with Gary Kubiak. So the Ravens like all of those things. Now, of course, they don't want to see him on the field because they want Joe Flacco to be healthy like he's been throughout his career. And in terms of Bryn Renner, I think he has impressed me during the offseason a little bit. I think that the best way for him onto the team is probably on the practice squad.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Our last question, get this name, Garrett, you ready? Jeppe Bjerg Fanning.
I don't know if you nailed it, but it was a good effort.
I like Jeppe T-Bone, though. That's his Twitter handle. He asks, is there any chance to reach a new contract with Marshall Yanda before the season? Yes, I still think that this is a possibility. It's still a win-win for both sides. It would help the Ravens financially, and it would keep Marshall Yanda as one of the top 5 paid guards in the league. I think Marshall Yanda is a guy who wants to stay in Baltimore. He's played his entire career here, originally picked by the Ravens in the 3rd round. They invested in him, kind of built him up. I don't think Yanda is a guy that says, I need top dollar. I need to be the highest paid guard. So I think these two sides will come together at some point, but there's just no rush.
All right, so that's it for us. And the off-season program is now in the books, but training camp is going to be here before we know it. So keep the questions coming up to that point. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.